while we're on this, obviously with Captain Tsubasa on the Japanese theme, I've like binged watched Cobra Kai today.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because they added it to Netflix, right?
Yeah, because they picked it up, right?
Yeah, it was exclusive to YouTube for a long time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. The YouTube, what's it called? Red?
YouTube Red?
It was, but then they realized that RedTube is a porn site, so then they renamed it YouTube Premium.
Oh, it's premium, right? Is that the same thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, no, it's a good series, man.
But you were into the original one? Like the
movies, Karate Kid movies, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, they're so good.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I completely missed those.
You didn't watch them? Damn.
I was like a Back to the Future type guy.
It's like... And it's not a remake of that, right? It's just basically like now.
It's like a sequel,
continuation. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Here we go. All right, you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Recording?
Yep. Been recording this entire conversation.
Perfect.
Well, there we go. We might have accidentally got our first ever cold open.
Hey.
Either talking about Cobra Kai or video games.
Yeah.
There we go. Let me just expand this. And welcome to Matchday Matinee, episode 16. Thank you for joining us, where we take our love of football and love of films, mash them together, and talk about a new movie every week. Joining me today is Regev Sandhu. Regev, how was your lovely trip to Banff?
It was amazing. I was got to say, Alberta is probably one of the most beautiful areas in the world, and I would highly recommend anybody that lives in Canada that can go there, should go there, because it's breathtaking. You'll never see anything like it.
Cool. Did you feel safe traveling around amid the pandemic?
Yeah, so it's outside. It's mostly all outside. Yeah. And the people I went with, obviously, I live with. So yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, cool. Adam, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I see you're rocking the Blue Samurai is the nickname of the club, but you're rocking the away version to My Home, I believe.
Yeah, I think same year, I believe. Yeah,
2018, and
cool, yeah. And
I hear on the numbers.
It's got these cool. It's got Captain Tsubasa. You can't really see it on
Pretty
the
cool.
numbers. I will take a picture of it and we'll put it up on our Twitter. But yeah, all the numbers have got little scenes and the back as well. So it's pretty cool.
I wonder how visible that was on TV.
I can't imagine at all.
Can't. Yeah.
As I look at the photo, look.
Oh, I can't see.
Blurred out.
Yeah.
Nah. Anyway.
Cool. Well, this week we're heading to the 80s, and much like the pop hit of the same decade, we're turning Japanese. So we're looking at Captain Tsubasa Europe Daikessen. It's released in 1985, and this is the first film from the Captain Tsubasa anime series, which began 2 years earlier in 1983. This brisk 40-minute film is directed by Tatsuya Okamoto and stars Koichi Hashimoto as Wakabayashi, the Japanese youth keeper, Akari Hiboni, I'm massacring these names, Akari Hibino as the eponymous Tsubasa, captain of the Japanese youth squad, and Kaishi Nanba as Karl Hans Schneider, who is the stoic superstar of the All-Europe team. This is a Tsushita production. It's based on characters originally in Jump Manga, which is a weekly series. Before we dive into this movie's plot or lack thereof, I'm curious what your familiarity is with manga or anime, or even like North America comics in general. Regev, we'll start with you.
0.
Nothing?
Was never a huge comic book guy growing up, even as a child. Like, of course, I watched like Batman and Spider-Man on TV and things like that, but I mean, I'm not really into comics at all. I was into Pokemon, I would say.
That's nerdier. I'm going to go on the record and say that's nerdier than comics.
Yeah. I was into Pokemon, but yeah, anime, just generally no.
Adam?
I would say I have dabbled in it and never quite understood it to some extent. So if I watched Akira back in the day when that first got dubbed and just didn't like it, I didn't understand it or anything. I was like, what the hell? Why are there all these tentacles flying around killing everybody? Didn't get it. So I kind of didn't watch any for a long time. But then there's one called Metropolis, which is about like this AI girl that gets dropped in a city, which I really enjoyed. And then unknowingly, we also had some anime as kids that I didn't realize. I just had to look it up because I forgot about it. It was called The Protectors. And it was like this weird show. It was almost like Power Rangers, but in manga. Or like anime, but it was really. But the reason I had to look it up is because there's a lot of stylistic similarities between this, like the weird sounds, like the zapping sounds and stuff they make when they're playing football. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot. It's something I've always meant to watch, like Studio Ghibli films, and just never bothered. I'm always inclined to watch something else, but aesthetically, I like anime. I never jump to it, I guess. How about you?
I mean, I saw Batman, like the Tim Burton film, when I was 6 years old, and I never fell out of love with DC Comics. I'm kind of into Marvel, but DC was like my main thing. So I even have pictures of like my 6th birthday where I'm having or maybe 7th birthday, where I have like a Batman Returns party and I'm holding up a Batman poster. And obviously that love like continues to this day. Like I'm working on like a DC Comics sleeve. But anime or manga, I was never really into. There was a couple things that I kind of poked around in. Like again, going back to Pacific Mall, you go there and it's like a treasure trove of Asian cinema and stuff like that. So I picked up Battle Royale, which is very much like the Hunger Games. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
Yeah, I didn't know there was I've read the book and watched the live action movie.
Yeah, sorry. So it was a live action. Okay. That was kind of my gateway into like more stuff. So I started picking up like more anime stuff and Japanese kind of media in general. But I got into Death Note for a bit, and then Full Metal Alchemist. And then, so funny enough, I went to Japan about 10 years ago. Actually went to a J-League match. Yes, I watched Omiya Ardija versus Kyoto Sanga. Wow. And I picked up some some manga there. But Captain Tsubasa was never on my radar. Like, had I known that, I probably would have picked up some volumes or something.
This is the thing. I feel like this might be more almost a gateway into anime now for me. Because I was like, maybe that's what was missing, like the subject matter I like in that style, kind of. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because so I grew up in Germany, and we had a show that was very similar to this called Kickers, which now that I'm thinking back to it, I did watch somewhat, but I was way too young, so I don't really remember it. But yeah, it had very similar look and feel to what this is.
Far less popular, I'm guessing.
I guess so.
Nobody mentions Kicker. Like I thought when you had mentioned it originally a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe a redub of Captain Tsubasa, but it's not. It's just
just something different. But it was very popular in Germany from what I can remember.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny thing too. Like I guess in Eastern culture, like anime or manga isn't really necessarily aimed only at children. And we're seeing that more here where it's changed. But back then you could have an anime, like a serious love story about like divorce, or like a manga about people dealing with death. And there's all these serious subjects. Whereas here, we didn't really see that until later on. I mean, it was either Disney movies or it was like kids cartoons, which were basically 30-minute toy commercials.
Yeah, like Hasbro stuff, like Transformers and stuff. And,
yeah, exactly.
So like when you look back at them cynically, they were just to sell you stuff. There was no depth to any of them. Go watch them back. I mean, they're trash. There's nothing there.
Yeah, every week they introduce like a new weapon or a new vehicle just so they can like release toy line for fall. So, so we're lucky now. Like we have Netflix, and Netflix has a ton of great like adult series, like BoJack Horseman. Hoops is one I just watched, the comedy series. F is for Family with Bill Burr. So, I mean, there's tons of great stuff now that's kind of aimed at every age group. So we're kind of lucky to be in the time we are now, in some sense. Yeah. You guys ready to get into the plot of this one?
Let's go for it.
Plot.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. Yeah,
not much of a plot. We'll get through this quickly. So the film opens up. It's got a quick bit of exposition, and it introduces us to the relationship between Tsubasa and Inigo in a flashback where Tsubasa saves her from a rabid stray dog by launching a soccer ball at the dog and just breaking a rib on the dog. And then he goes to pet the dog as the dog's growling at him. The dog seems like it wants to end his life. But then the dog starts smiling and joins their like little ragtag group. And it's kind of funny how they weave in soccer to everything. So like Adam and I, we both got the Rise of the New Champions, I think it's called, video game for Switch. And that's kind of like an introduction to Tsubasa for both of us. But his origin story is in there. And the reason he loves soccer so much is because he chased the soccer ball.
Oh, right, yes.
And a delivery truck comes right at him, but he's holding the soccer ball, and the delivery truck hits the ball before it hits him, and it knocks him back, and the soccer ball literally saves his life.
Yeah.
So it gives him this special bond, and that's why he's carried it with him for his entire life. So from this story, we're taken to Narita Airport and then to Charles de Gaulle Airport, where we meet the Japanese youth squad who's engaging in this all-Europe team in a friendly match. So we see views of the Eiffel Tower, l'Arc de Triomphe, Seine River, before being introduced to this Euro super team, and it's led by this Englishman, the Tank Squadron Steve.
He's such a stereotype. Like,
so
ridiculous.
Who is this guy based on? Like, there's a number of characters in this. Rivaldo is inspired a few characters in this, and even the German guy. We'll get to him in a second. But who is this guy inspired by? So, like, who's a late 70s?
Like Tough Man? I don't know.
1985-ish, 1980s, in the 1980s.
Early 80s, late 70s.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't think about that, to be honest, when I was watching it. I just thought it was. I didn't realize there was even a Rivaldo person. I just thought it was random. So I just thought it was a stereotype.
Yeah, it just looks very stereotypical of what you would think an English player is at that time. You know, all
very like Leeds United.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, rough and tumble. So Steve promises to win their showdown by over 20 goals, and he illustrates this by going like this multiple times. And they're like, why is this guy showing us the victory pose? And this is literally like dialogue in the movie. Like, why is he showing us the victory pose? And like, no, he's saying he's going to win over 20 goals, like a rugby score. So it's as confusing to the people in the movie as it is to the people watching the movie. So Wakabayashi, the goalie of the Japanese youth squad, challenges Steve to a penalty kick challenge, and Steve kicks the ball so hard that the aura from the ball injures him. Like, it doesn't even come near the goalie.
Yeah, it just makes him like weak.
Yeah, it injures his leg just being near him, but he ends up missing it, and then he hits Schneider, who is the football emperor of West Germany, his teammate, and he does seem to be a decent guy. So this is what I was alluding to before. So this guy, his name is Karl-Heinz Schneider. He's obviously inspired by, like, I guess his name, like Karl-Heinz Rummenigge,
yeah.
And Franz Beckenbauer in some regards, like the way he plays, I guess.
Well, they mentioned Beckenbauer during one of the games, don't they? When he's doing something, I figure I wrote the quote somewhere, but yeah.
They're like, he's shades, he's showing shades of Franz Beckenbauer.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So after a final warning of the European team's prowess, Tsubasa and the Japanese youth squad prepare to take on Europe at an unnamed Paris stadium, and the Daikessen is underway. All Europe initially underestimates the Japanese squad, and they bench their two best players out of a show of arrogance. And this includes Schneider. But after an opening goal from Japan, courtesy of Oriental Magic, which I think might be a controversial phrase these days. I don't know if you can say Oriental anymore. It's kind of something.
Yeah. I don't think so.
But as the film calls it, Oriental Magic, Schneider begins to take this challenge seriously, and he leads the All-Europe team into the half with a 2-1 lead over Japan. Tsubasa eventually rallies his team with some motivation from Inigo, who we saw earlier in the movie. He pulls 2 back for Japan, and this includes the game winner, which hits the net just as the ref is putting the whistle to his lips, about to blow full time on the match. And that's the entire movie. It's a 40-minute film. Like we said, it's very short. And about 35 minutes of that is the actual match itself.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, in like ratio of movie to Footy Flicks, I don't think we'll ever get anything higher than this. I'd be very surprised if we did.
This is like a full fat Footy Flicks, yeah.
I will say one of the funniest scenes is right in the beginning when they're at the airport, and that girl comes, the one that's taking them around in Paris.
The French girl,
yeah. And she's like, "Oh, Tsubasa, I'm such a big fan." And like, you see the back of Tsubasa's head, and then another character kind of just like shoves his finger in like Tsubasa's head. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
So weird.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Adam, go for it.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's really hard to... It's almost like this is like half of the movie Shaolin Soccer was, because even like the training bit was a little bit, and then it does the similar as when you get to the main game in that, it makes a stylistic choice and it like sticks to it. Like,
yeah,
talk about when we get to Footy Flicks, but like, it was funny. But one thing, is this like an official dub of it, or is this like a fan dub?
No, wait, did you watch it with the subtitles or the...
Yeah, sorry, subtitles. That's what I meant. That's like official subtitles, or... Sorry,
I doubt it, because it's on YouTube, I'm guessing illegally. So whoever put it up there would have had to dub it. But I mean, there's a huge community of people who just dub anime.
Do stuff, right?
Yeah, because I mean, years ago, well, when this film came out, there wasn't like Crunchyroll or a bunch of different apps where you could stream anime content. So you'd have to bring it over, like Pacific Mall style, rip it, and then add your own subtitles to it.
Right. That's even, I remember that with Akira, it was a big deal. And I think when that got translated, that was a big deal. Like it was after the fact. So yeah. Okay. Because I just wondered, because there's other things, like you said about the Oriental magic, there's other weird things that are slightly problematic. Like at one point they're like, Chase, stop those two midgets. And it's just like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, is that part of like Japanese culture? Like, that's cool. Or is that just somebody having fun? Just somebody who's dumb doing the translation thinks it's funny still. But then I also don't know when it is, when it was written.
What's the upload date on this YouTube video?
That's a good question.
Years ago, I think.
I'll look at that whilst we're chatting.
That was probably okay up until like 10, 12 years ago, I'd say, like those terms.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Forgev, what was your take on this movie?
I mean, it's tough to have a take on this movie. It's 40 minutes. I really actually appreciated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I dig the story. It's very simple, and I think that's what makes it okay for me, at least, right? Because it's basically an episode about them playing a match against a European dream team, right? A European dream team, and just as all sports movies are, it has a miracle comeback. It has some funny one-liners, especially some of the words that they use, and then just some of the animations as well, right? So like whenever, when they're surprised and things like that before the match, it's like you just see one guy like standing off, kind of like it's just funny, like just the movements and things like that.
Yeah, I think we did a huge disservice by jumping into like the first movie and not watching the series. Like that's not what our podcast is about anyways, but to jump into the first movie and ignore like the first, I think 3 seasons that would have led up to this.
Yeah.
So I guess we're supposed to, they do a sort of good job of showing you each of the characters and you get the sense of their personality, but because there's so little, I was assuming there's a whole backstory that we're missing, that this was the culmination, like the ending point getting to. So we've missed, I know like, it might be limited, but miss some like character development or at least learning a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming like the scene we saw in the video game about the dump truck, that must be in an episode somewhere. I don't think it was made just for the game. Or I could be wrong.
I know leading up to this point, he plays for a middle school. Like he grows up in that area. He makes friends. They all go to school together. And then they all play for the Nankatsu Middle School.
Yeah.
And then they compete against like Toho and Otomo and a bunch of other middle schools in the region. So you get all of that backstory. I guess you grow a connection to these characters like the Tachinabe twins, Takabana twins, Hyuge, a bunch of other people that you see on this team. You see this connection between them. You grow to like them. And then all of a sudden they're finally leaving Japan to take on the Europe Daikessen. But we missed all that, so we have no connection to these characters other than a couple minutes of exposition. Yeah,
even like I'm assuming, like about halfway through the game, his sister starts waving a flag, and Tsubasa's sister, and like Tsubasa, and then Mum comes out. That's what he says. It's revealed kind of to be his sister and his mum that come out.
He's the girl that she gets saved by him from the dog, right?
Yeah. And they're the ones, but I kind of missed some part. That's what he said, though. He said, look, it's your sister and your mum, and he kind of looks up and waves at them.
Are you sure? Because after he wins the match, the French girl starts kissing him, and then that girl starts beating her with the flagstick, which implies that she has a crush on him.
An interest. Maybe I missed that. Maybe I was wrong then. But it was definitely his mum. Somebody definitely said, look, there's your mother.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
I know that's his mom,
But yeah. So I guess there's some things, I'm assuming you'd know more about them if you'd watched the series as well. So that might be a more poignant moment rather than just be like, all right, cool, get on with the game.
Good job, I guess.
Yeah.
It's friendly. It's the most like anticlimactic thing when they're like, because this is a friendly, this game will end in a 2-2 draw. If nobody scores. You're like, okay, I guess.
Okay, yeah, it's like I've lost any interest then. If you're not bothered, why should I be?
Because I thought this was a qualifier for the World Cup, like the way that they were framing it.
Yeah, that's what I thought this film was going into. I thought it was like an actual tournament. So then I was like, oh, okay, so this is like the first game. And as it's going on, I'm like, no, this is the only game we're going to see here.
No, it's cool, though, because I'm just reading up a little bit on the series. And it's like, in the later years, he's actually playing professional football for real clubs like FC Barcelona, Juventus, etc.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's pretty sick.
I might have to watch more.
Yeah.
It does have a huge following like around the world because they dubbed it for so many different countries. So you will see like professional like football, like Mbappe had his picture drawn by the creator of the series, and it was like a huge honor for him, right? And then a lot of the guys who went to Japan kind of based that around their love of Captain Tsubasa. And even like so speaking about the legacy of this movie, Japanese football in the 80s wasn't very good. Like they didn't have a domestic league. The national team wasn't doing well. And this kind of drove popularity of the sport in the entire country. So, I mean, from this, like you had the J League starting up, and I think in the early 90s, the Japanese national team has appeared pretty much every World Cup since
one of the best in Asia for
2002.
Yeah, since they hosted it, yeah.
Since they hosted it, right? So, I mean, some people maybe falsely attribute all that to Captain Tsubasa driving the spirit of soccer in Japan, but
yeah, you could see that like their women's team is really good as well. So
yeah, they have a nickname too. I can't remember. No, I'm thinking of the Matildas, which is Australia.
Yeah,
they have cool kits though. They have those Black Widow kits. With the red stripe on it. So yeah, I think I enjoyed this movie for what it was. 40 minutes of fun, and probably got me interested enough that I want to go back and watch the rest of the series. Seems like there's a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd watch all of it, but I'll maybe one lunchtime or something, I'll throw on an episode to see if it grips me, and then
yeah. But see, the problem is I'd watch this in the background while I'm doing something else, and you can't because there's subtitles on it.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I'm watching Dark at the moment. Super detailed, like German show, a bit like time travel and all sorts. And it's like, it's a 45-minute episode. It's taken me like an hour to watch because I have to keep rewinding because I miss stuff because I'm not paying attention and I'm not watching it dubbed. So
yeah.
That's the challenge. This would fall into that same category. I'd be like, wait, what's going on?
So yeah, I'd probably just end up playing the video game because that has the backstory and everything, and then that's my free time dedicated to Tsubasa.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we appreciated the movie for what it was. Moving on to the Footy Flicks, Adam, why don't you get us started on what your favorite scene was?
All of the end? No, that's really hard to. The thing is, I found them. It's really weird. It's very like, I don't mean this disparagingly. It's all very one note. It's like exactly the same thing. So lots of the running, they do the same, like where they're all jockeying for position. It's all the same, like moving and their legs moving. And all the goals are very similar. Like it's that same sharp cut and characters going like, and stuff. But I did enjoy it. I also thought some of the commentary was pretty funny as they were going on. They had cool names for stuff like the butterfly samba. And
Zigzag Samba, even the old ladies around town talk about him.
Yeah, I wrote that around around town talking about him.
I love the music that kicked in,
it's probably, I guess, that last winning goal. So there's a whole build up to it, and then it's like, what is it? One of the players does an overhead kick away from the goal, and Tsubasa does an overhead kick towards the goal. It bounces off the crossbar, and then he does a diving header to get it in, I think.
Yeah, no, it's that's my favorite scene as well. So it's amazing. So basically, what happens is he does an overhead kick laterally to pass. Then that guy does an overhead kick to pass it back to Tsubasa. Then Tsubasa does an overhead kick to hit the post, and then heads it in. I think
there was one where one of the European guys shot the ball, and then his own teammate stopped it to shoot it back into their own end, so that another guy could get a better shot. But it looked like the original shot was going in anyways.
Anyway, yeah. But then I guess it has this weird thing, doesn't it? Like the keepers are just magical and like...
They move so quickly that they can jump off the post to the other side to get more momentum. Yeah. It's almost like, do you guys remember that Simpsons episode where Portugal played Brazil in the first minute?
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite of that. Like every single pass is exciting because it's a forward pass and everyone's running at every moment. Like there's just nonstop play.
Yeah, and even when there's one bit where they talk about they've got to check their formations or something, and it shows you like them in 4 rows of 4, like just chasing after each other, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. I thought it was cool. My favorite scene was the twin Takabana brothers to score their very first goal for Japan. They start with the Meg, and then the one guy leaps off the crossbar. So the ball moves towards him. He jumps onto the crossbar, jumps up, heads it to his brother, and then his brother does the, I think it was just regular kick. It was like a normal kick. But like did you guys watch Dragon Ball?
I never have, but I sort of know enough about it that...
Yeah.
This, I thought, is this how Dragon Ball is with all their powers like building up and stuff? And
that's what I've heard. Like, I've never watched Dragon Ball, but I've heard that some episodes, like an entire 20 minutes, is just spent on them like shit talking each other during a battle. It's like the episode starts and he's like, Goku, you will end because I am your father's brother and I have more power than you. And that's like the literal like entire 20 minutes of the movie. Like that's how this felt, but with football scenes, where like the guy would be moving towards the net and he'd be like, I have to score this. This is my only chance to win this victory for us. And then we'd cut to the keeper and he'd have an internal monologue as well. Yeah. And then we'd cut to the coach on the sidelines and he'd also have dialogue. Yeah. Like that's what it felt like. It was literally like a 35-minute match.
So I do wonder if there's some episodes that are like that. They give it a bit more room to breathe and then like has the shot at the end of an episode and it cuts to the next episode, whether it goes in or not. Be cool to see.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Because they got a bit more time to space than this movie had, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. So I think we rate the Footy Flicks pretty highly.
Rate them.
How are we comparing this against Shaolin Soccer?
Yo, honestly, I think it beats it.
It's less goofy.
Yeah.
As an anime, it's less goofy than Shaolin Soccer.
I'd be interested to watch. I don't know how. Does the series still go to this day? So I'd be interested to see how, if this was the starting point for the movies, how they aped it and whether it ended up as goofy as Shaolin Soccer did in its own way, or if it became more over the top, or.
Because I think Rise of the New Champions is based on an anime series.
There's something behind Right, so that's based off a different, like a more modern anime.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Rise of the New Champion. Isn't that the Captain Tsubasa game?
That's the name of the game, yeah.
So that's based off a new series that just came out. And then they're still making new stuff, including promotional materials that they did for the Tokyo Olympics, which were supposed to happen this year. And then the actual ball from the Olympics was going to be a Captain Tsubasa inspired ball. Oh, so it had like the impact lines coming out of it. And I think, so it was made by Adidas or Puma. I think it was Adidas. And it was actually called Tsubasa. Like, you know how every ball has a different name?
Yeah.
So it's actually called a Tsubasa. It's pretty cool. Even the Olympics closing ceremony from what would have been Russia, I guess.
Yeah.
When they introduced the next one.
Yeah. When they kind of like where it's going next. Yeah.
Yeah, they touched on a bunch of different pop culture stuff, including Super Mario and Tsubasa. So it's pretty cool. Nice. They're really proud of it. So Footy Flicks, we're rating it highly.
Yeah, for what it is.
Time for some trivia.
Sure.
So I'm going to open up the...
I have it here.
So are you guys rating this higher or lower than Shaolin Soccer?
You know what I would have liked? The animal stuff. Because that does happen in the video game. So when one guy does the tiger kick, like the full-out tiger kick comes out, and that's what happens with the Puma in Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, and there's one guy that's like a falcon I was playing with earlier and stuff. Yeah. So it's cool, different animals. Like they all have a different spirit animal kind of thing. Yeah.
Maybe that does happen in the later anime.
Maybe.
So we'll see. Maybe season 3. I'll throw you guys for a loop again and pick one of the Actually, I'm not going to say what movie I'll pick because it's a trivia question.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Can you read off the rankings for us right now?
So this is going to be lower than Shaolin Soccer then?
We'll see. So me and Raghav are joint second with 2 points and you are top with 4 points. So a chance for us to catch up today.
Oh, shit.
All right. So I came up with some questions that are Tsubasa inspired, but also tied into the J League.
Okay.
So for this first question, I'm going to have you go first, Raghav.
Okay.
So which of these Brazilian legends never played for a J League club?
Okay.
3 options.
Sure.
Julio Cesar, the one-time TFC keeper. Dunga, who was part of that 94 World Cup side. Or Zico, who was another legend in Canary Yellow. So that's Julio Cesar, Dunga, or Zico, who has never played for a J League club.
Julio Cesar? Because I don't believe he played in the J League. Is it?
Final answer?
Yes.
Okay. Adam?
I'm going to say the same. I'm pretty sure Dunga did, and Zico seems like might have done. Yeah, Cesar was near the end of his career when he was at TFC. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Went to Porto after, I think. Final answer from both you guys?
Yeah.
All right, you guys are both correct.
Nice.
So he did have stops in like Brazil, Italy, England,
Canada,
Portugal, Canada, obviously for the 7 matches with TFC, but never in Japan. Cool. Funny enough. So there actually was another Brazilian player named Julio Cesar who did play in the J League.
Okay. Not the Julio Cesar. Okay.
That was a trick question if you guys tried to Google it quickly. So speaking of Tsubasa inspiring a nation and individual players, which of these 3 Spanish stars credits Captain Tsubasa with sparking their interest in football? Is it David Silva, Fernando Torres, or Iniesta? Adam, you can start this time.
Iniesta popped in my head as you were reading out the question. I was like, it sounds like something, so I'm just going to go with him.
Okay.
I'll go with my gut.
I am going to go with Fernando Torres.
Fernando Torres?
Yeah.
Correct answer is Torres.
Woo! You know how I know that? You know how I know that, though? While I was reading through all of the, what happens in the latter seasons, his name comes up quite a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so he says he literally would have never discovered football, which is hard to believe if it wasn't for Captain Tsubasa.
He would have discovered it.
Yeah, he lives in Spain, for God's sake.
So I threw in Iniesta just because he did end up playing in the J League, so I was hoping there was confusion with you guys.
Damn it.
Okay, final question. So, which of these is not a real Captain Tsubasa film? 3 options. I'm going to go back to Regev. Captain Tsubasa, Rising Sun. Captain Tsubasa, American Dream, or Captain Tsubasa, Holland Youth?
What was the first one? Right, I'm going to go with Rising Sun because that's very obvious. Yeah, it's very obvious.
Okay. Adam?
I'm going to say the same. It sounds too obvious. Hollywood Youth sounds so weird that it's probably real.
So I'll give you guys the 3 options again. Rising Sun, American Dream, or Holland Youth?
Oh, Holland.
Holland Youth. Sorry, not Hollywood Youth.
Oh, Holland Youth.
I don't know. I'm still going to go with
Rising Sun.
Yeah.
I'll go Rising Sun. It seems too obvious.
You guys are both wrong. It's actually American Dream.
Oh, that seems like a one that would definitely
Does sound real though, right?
Does anybody actually dream of playing in America that lives in Japan?
2022, Captain Tsubasa comes to play for Inter Miami or
there you go.
LA Galaxy when he's
exciting
old.
stuff.
Yeah.
Messi, Ronaldo, who's their DPs at that time? Messi, Ronaldo, Suarez, and Captain Tsubasa.
Yeah.
Maybe Aguero. All right. So this is going to be an interesting discussion. Where are we placing this on the Matchday matinee table? Right now in 3rd place, we have Shaolin. No, we don't. Is it Shaolin Soccer in 3rd?
No. When Saturday comes.
I'm trying to pull up the table here after a restart on my computer. Okay, so 3rd place is When Saturday Comes. In 2nd place, we have Shaolin Soccer, which was a tough decision between those 2. And then in 1st place, with not much of a challenge, was Summer of 92. So now Captain Tsubasa, a short little 40-minute film with some Shaolin Soccer-esque Footy Flicks. I know where I'm going to place this. I think you guys would probably agree below Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, I didn't realize Shaolin Soccer was in 2nd. I always thought it was 3rd. So yes, it would still go below Shaolin Soccer for me.
Okay.
And that's above When Saturday Comes.
Yes.
Okay.
My thing is this is just not quite enough story. And there is the When Saturday Comes story is okay. It's not a terrible story like a lot of these films we watch. So I do wonder if I might be losing this argument a little bit. But I do wonder if there's more story that's good. That's a terrible.
You do have the inherent bias with
true
When Saturday Comes, though.
Yeah, and to be fair to this film, it does a nice job of showing off France. So you get some nice panoramic shots of like the Eiffel Tower and stuff. Yeah, and they show you the airport properly when they get there. But I feel like this. I don't know. This is it's hard. There's so little plot in here to go by. It's always going to be just a struggle to kind of place it above some of these films just because there's less to it. And I think what is in there When Saturday Comes is better than this because it's just some kids that have a little bit of a rivalry and then take that rivalry into a game. There's kind of not a lot else, and a bit of story about a dog. There we go.
There was a bit of backstory and narrative there.
Yeah. So for me, it's below, but I think you two might disagree with me, so I might just have to concede it.
So, summer of '92, there's no challenge there. Shaolin soccer, we're not going to argue with that. But When Saturday Comes,
I think it's worse than When Saturday Comes.
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I could be persuaded either way.
Oh, that's good. Good. Oh, all right. I thought that might be harder.
The movie was
meat on here.
There's movie was too small to really even rank it with anything, right? It's like you're comparing When Saturday Comes, which is a real film about a dude from Sheffield, versus a cartoon 40-minute episode.
Yeah, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with this story, and I definitely think there'll be films that have worse stories that are much longer than this, and we'll be able to compare them. But I feel like what story is there? It's perfectly fine. It's just not better than When Saturday Comes. But like next week's film is probably terrible, and we'll probably have a worse story than this, so it might finish higher. I don't think we completely dismiss it because there's not a lot of story. There's enough in there, just not enough to beat When Saturday Comes.
So I'm curious if there are any below.
So fourth place on the table as it stands right now.
So I'm curious if there are any 90-minute like videos on Captain Tsubasa or movies.
Probably.
Yeah, I saw one. I don't know which one it was, but YouTube suggested me another film that was like in 1 hour 11 or something. So a little bit longer.
Sure. Which is pretty normal for an animated film.
Yeah.
All right. So we're looking at, in fourth place, we have Captain Tsubasa, Europe Daikessen. In third place, we have When Saturday Comes. In second, we have Shaolin Soccer. And in first place, and what will likely be hard to beat for this rest of the season, is Summer of '92. And believe it or not, we're already a quarter of the way through the season. Up next on the matinee, we have, is it your crappy European adventure?
Yeah, this was the wild card one that we pulled at random, right? So it's My English Soccer Adventure, which is available to watch on Amazon Prime if people want to watch along with us. I have already watched it, and good luck, guys. If you make it
good.
Yeah, it's that good. Yeah.
I watched Back of the Net on the weekend on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
There can't be much worse than that.
I don't know.
We'll find out when Back in the Net hits season 6 or whatever of Matinee. All right, guys. So that wraps up a pretty short episode this week. I think we'll keep it nice and light, just like the Europe Daikessen. Ragev, where can people find you?
So you can find me at Raghav Sandhu on Facebook and Twitter.
Facebook.
Sorry, Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, that makes more sense. He is on Facebook if you want to find him.
Yes, I am on Facebook.
Send Farmville invites or whatever people do on Facebook these days.
Yeah.
Adam, where can people find you?
Joypad Goalposts on Twitter and the same on Instagram. And I'm finally putting some more episodes of that stuff out on a week on... Oh, no, actually, when this comes out, it'll be Friday. So, yeah. So Friday of this week, there'll be a new episode of Joypad for Goalposts for the first time in like a year and a half.
Very cool. Season 2.
Very cool.
Season 2 of that show, handheld games.
Yeah. When tying in with our Captain Tsubasa week, we'll also have a lot of content on the game. I believe you're doing some live streams with Lapsed Gamer as well as on Joypad for Goalposts, right?
Yeah. So tomorrow night, or tonight, as this actually comes out, it will have been streamed on my Twitch channel, which is aducky84. So yeah, and I'll put that up on my YouTube channel as well. And then you and me are going to play some multiplayer of it to go up on our channel as well.
Yeah, we're going to mess about, try to figure out what the spirit system is all about. And we'll have that up on our YouTube channel as a casual kicks, I think we're calling it, kind of bonus episodes. No audio, just video, because it wouldn't make much sense. But that should be up this week. Yeah, and that's it.
Stuff.
I'm Mark83 on Twitter, 83football on Instagram, and thank you for joining us tonight.
See ya.
See ya. Thank you.